Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Silent Hill Ascension post show. I'm Eduardo, joined here by Noah, and Noah, we got to see honestly quite a wide spread of scenes here.
We saw so much right now. I'm still shook by the scene with Carl at the NA meeting. Like, wow, it's on so many levels. This guy keeps his composure at all times. This was a lot to unpack here. And I appreciate that Brit is trying to bring the family together and have Carl be like a better father, be accountable. But I don't know if like doing it in his first time going with her to an NA meeting is the best place to do it. It obviously triggered some demons in him.
Yeah, some pretty visible ones too here. Definitely. I mean, do you have monsters in your closet? Yes. They're out. They're right.
They're out and they're proud, man. They're not even in the closet anymore.
No, they're right out there. But that scene with Britt and Astrid was really touching. And as well, I don't want to say, but between Krista and Rachel, tensions have started flaring. That was a really flare-up scene in terms of tensions. Now, all that said, let's go back quickly to kind of our scene here with where we saw Britt and Carl, because there were a lot of you in the audience that were within that scene, a lot of cameos. Our production team's going to throw that up on screen because we kind of have a cameo contest closing. We'll tell you all about that. So production team put on the scene that you just saw. Don't worry, we'll get to that discussion as well here. But the big thing here is essentially, we see this scene right here. This video that premiered today is where Britt brings Carl along with her to an NA meeting. We saw the monsters. You saw a lot of you, the audience, being present in this scene. Especially, after that Britt and Astrid scene, this was quite a stark contrast. It was a really heart to heart, and now we're kind of back with strangers.
Right, and we were introduced to so many people there, and I don't know, I look forward to doing this journey of recovery with everybody. I wonder if NA has what it takes to help people with not only their, as we said, their internal demons, but also with their out and proud demons that are plaguing them now in support groups as well. There is no place that's safe, not the farm, not the support group, not the hospital. And by the way, that was shady. Then Mette, for a few scenes ago, I know I'm revisiting, but it was shady how she came to Astrid in her work just to drop a mean line.
No, yeah. That was, when Mette and Astrid had to, basically go. Mette is just oh yeah, well, life's rough right now. People are dying, deal with it. But here, and as you can see, the audience here, you have the monsters appearing with Carl in that scene. But that's the thing is right now, Carl has to essentially. I think Carl is dealing with a lot. He's not been the best at dealing with it. But let's not minimize what Carl is going through either.
Right, and by the way, I saw some Carl stands in the chat. People have been very vocal, but I did see some people accusing Carl of being a boomer. Now, as a millennial, I know I'm next up in line to be mocked and teased for my for my generation, but right now the boomers still get to have it. So, Carl, okay, boomer, I guess, right?
Yeah, I mean, or as our co-host Layla loves to say, the sad old wet man, which honestly I do like as well as a qualifier. But out of those scenes, that was the scene. I don't want to I want to say that the most interesting part of those scenes were essentially the kind of two scenes where Astrid and Britt, and on the other side we had Krista and Rachel. For me, that conflict between Krista and Rachel was really big. Essentially Krista going no, the shit's hitting the fan. We got to stay indoors. We got to stay locked down. We need Xavier to wake up. And because that decision as well is really close, right? How will Rachel exploit Xavier's absence? Not a fake decision, but it's pretty much neck and neck. It's going to probably pay off. I believe it pays off tomorrow. Is she going to be honest and let Krista lead, or is she going to have Xavier put me in charge as her quote? That's really charged up, and you, the audience, are going to have to decide that. But again, and we'll talk about that in a bit, because it's not a fate decision, but it's quite particular. Actually, one of the things is it's not a fate decision. Noah, can you explain what a fate decision is, and that way we can express what a not fate decision would be?
Right. So, as you know, the decisions and the endurance scenes and the puzzles, all of them contribute to whether a character is going to face redemption, suffering, or damnation in the Silent Hill Ascension final. So their fate is decided across the length of the season, and a character's hope needs to be high enough for them to survive crucial story moment. And the way that you influence those decisions is with your influence point. So, you want their hopes up for them to survive. I cannot emphasize. What are we as humans without hope? You know, especially, I feel it now. I feel it. I feel the spirit of the hope right now, Eduardo. Do you feel it?
I feel it for sure, Noah. Now the nice part is fate is with influence points, but again, hope is influence point less, so to speak, because you're doing mindfulness puzzles, which very early on, our development team made available to everybody. So again, for free, no matter what, you get access to that pretty much 24/7.
Hope is always free. Nobody can take hope away from you. Hope is free.
Right. So that's the thing here is essentially you at home can influence hope. By the way, we saw in the endurance scenes that Eric didn't make it as well as you would have liked, I suspect, for some of you, but Eric's hope is high. So it's okay to fail from time to time if Eric's hope remains high. You've been, as an audience, really keeping Eric's hopes high. So a one-off incident like this, not so bad. It's if more happens. But again, coming back to the kind of this idea, right? Decisions are usually what influence fate. Hope is usually influenced by kind of those events that you see. And again, coming back to the decision, how will Rachel explain Xavier's absence? That's separate from this, because it's a decision that's based on you, the audience, deciding what you want to see. You're not 100% sure what will happen, but there's not a change in the character's fate. It's very much about what you want to see. For example, Carl and Mayday, that was also not a fate decision, and you chose lovers over the very close option of nothing. It's really about the choice of what the audience, you at home, want to see. Now, that's a lot about it.
Yeah. Oh my God. And you know that I was pleased with that outcome. I have a feeling, I don't know. And Rachel really is getting her ass handed to her lately. You know, she was expecting that she would take over in the absence of Xavier. Krista is coming there, taking her role, trying, it seems to me, to take her husband. You know, it takes one to know one. Rachel is really going through it right now. So I honestly, in the beginning, I still kind of don't feel bad for her for some reason. I have to admit.
No. I mean, and by the way, we don't have a policy to not ask about the host's personal lives, but I'm a little bit curious about that one. It takes one to know one here, Noah. But aside from that, we're not gonna. It
takes one to Noah.
Yes. Now, you, the audience, did choose in that instance for Eric to say, yes, I do deserve better, which I love, by the way. I think that's one of the best answers. Until, Eric sees Krista being whisked away by the monster. Now that was kind of like the thing, right? Is you're right. Rachel probably believed she would be, leading in Xavier's absence. And reading that letter was essentially Xavier not only says Krista's the choice, but on top of that says Rachel can't be trusted. That's a big deal. Now, Rachel's the one who wrote that, right? So that's what the decision is about. What is Rachel going to say as a result of having read that?
Right. So we are going to find out, but that was really a kick, a hard kick in the gut. So we have a lot of stuff building up right now, and we still have Faith missing.
Yeah, no, you're right. That was a big thing, right? Like Rachel, we saw that scene, I believe, on Monday, right? Where Rachel opened the door where the disembodied voice of her child was behind it in a red glow, and a bunch of monsters came out. And again, I asked the little question, would you open the door? But, that's a tough one, right? You think your child might be there. I understand the opening of the door. Now, it's Pennsylvania seems to be right now crawling with monsters. Norway it seems it's still very much, so to speak, in their mind's eye, right? Like Carl sees the monster, but it's not like other people in that meeting saw the monster.
Yeah, it's like in Pennsylvania, they're all seeing the monsters, or some of them at least. They're together experiencing monster situations. In Norway, it's a bit more like separated. You know, you have Carl seeing his monsters. You have, well, Eva did see some too, but you have mostly people on their own witnessing some crazy crap. So it's kind of like, that's the thing that makes everybody think they've gone crazy, because they're alone in this. And I feel like Carl really needs to communicate better with his daughter, because they're both being plagued by, seemingly to me, similar problems where nobody believes them. They're in front of the police. You know, Carl should have a lot more empathy, given that in the beginning of the season, he was in the same situation more or less as Astrid.
No, for sure. And speaking of empathy, Nikki is love in chat saying, poor Faith here, by the way. And you know, you were speaking of like father and daughter. Well, you know, mother and daughter, right? Like Rachel to Faith and like Astrid to Orson. Those are really key things here. A big part is those children are still missing. Like, sure, the adults are dealing with stuff. Not lying, the monsters appearing, not cool for them in that spot. You know, Astrid and Britt are having really heart to heart. That was a really touching scene. I'd recommend to rewatch that as well, because there was a lot in there. But essentially, you know, the children are still missing.
They're still missing. And I don't know if we're all doing enough. We're too busy blaming Astrid, blaming this, blaming that, when the children is what we should all focus on. Well, I don't know, but I feel the characters, their parents, should focus on. But I do understand that, like, again, you can't really save Orson if you're in prison for murdering him, maybe. And you can't really save Faith or find Faith when you're like completely alone in this search. Like, I feel like, well, maybe she can, but it would be a fluke, in my opinion.
Yeah, and I mean, like the search for Faith, you know, when monsters are roaming about. Right. We saw what happened there with BioGeek 93 again, eaten by the dog, the Snarler. Not the best. And by the way, I do love the mention of Ray. Hasn't anybody thought of the children? All in caps, of course. Yeah. I'm not going to shout that loud about it, but the big thing here is for sure that we're kind of in this spot of, you know, the children are missing and the parents have to deal with their own interpersonal problems. Now, as you said, Krista and Eric, maybe a little bit too distracting. But yeah, it's essentially, you know, it's hard to say things are heating up in Pennsylvania because they're already pretty red hot. But like in Norway, it seems like Britt and Astrid, that relationship is really interesting. Like how Britt, Astrid, and Carl are going to interact, I think, especially in the times that are rough, right? Where Astrid is being blamed for the disappearance of their children. That's a rough one. Right.
That's the time to band together. You know, that's not the time to be all blamey and stuff. I like the move that Britt, like the intention was good of Britt to bring her father to the NA meeting. And I think it's a step in the right direction. You know, in the beginning, we had Britt not even coming to Ingrid's funeral, her mother's funeral. Now we have her really trying to mend, you know, the relationship there between the family. And they did mention what happened 15 years ago, which I don't know if y'all caught that. They said it in the scene, and I do not know what occurred 15 years ago, but I have a feeling it was not fun.
But I have a feeling we'll eventually find out, which is nice. But again, that's when time moves forward. And right now, time on discussing the show, it has moved forward. We hope you've enjoyed the discussion on the narrative. For now, what we're going to do is we're going to discuss development updates. So that's going to pop up on screen. Noah, if you could do the pleasure for our audience in your lovely voice of describing essentially the highlights of our development updates.
You mean this voice?
Oh, yeah.
Well, chat is back. We love you all. Thank you so much for being with us. It actually, sincerely, I'm telling you, this is a great pleasure to have you with us here. We also have a rally feature update, and we have a holiday break. So last show, 2023 show will be on December 18th. Eduardo, can you please walk us through it?
Sure, of course. So again, chat is back. We have Leochi in chat saying thank you for enabling chat. We just want to make sure, so to speak, that we got it right before we got it back on. So, by the way, chat was back. So the big thing here is that essentially, Jacob actually did talk about this publicly online. So I'm actually going to read the quote directly from Jacob. So, on that note, chat is slowly returning. We have been working with a new moderation tool the last few weeks and have been testing it daily, making sure that all of you are doing. That's not the paraphrase, that's just my voice here. Now, however, and back to Jacob's quote, this is a phased rollout. Currently, it's tuned to be strong in terms of blocking things. We want to make sure you have a great experience. We want to make sure the return of chat is good for you. So that's the big thing. Now, the thing is, we can turn it off frequently if we do find issues, and it is heavily moderated. So we want to make sure you have a great chat experience. It's very critical to us. So bear with us if we do change things a little bit around, but for now, we hope you've had a delight to have chat back. We know we've had a light seeing your messages and seeing, honestly, really good positivity tonight. Personally, I found this great. Noa, as well, I suspect you've been enjoying that return too.
Oh, I sure have been, Eduardo. No, really though, I love hearing from everybody. I really do. Because this is what we're doing here. We're all in this together. This is a collective adventure we're doing here. This is a collective story.
No, for sure, and that's the thing. We have been noting you when you've been using emojis as well. I know some of you have been waving bye as we say bye on the hosted show. So, but that's not bye yet. Rallies have been updated. So some of you might have spotted this update. This update actually happened a few days ago. We just put it in. But the goal of the update for rally, the rally feature was the rally feature is designed for you, the community, to have a greater gap to close gaps in decisions, because we know some of you, it can sometimes feel hopeless, right? When you have a decision at like 40% and another at 20, and you're like, well, I really want this 20% option, but I don't see it happening. So rallies help for that. So one of the things is, in the past, you might have seen rallies have a 101% bonus, for example, especially when decisions are close. We've changed that. The new minimum is 120%. It does go a little bit higher as well on its maximum, so make sure that you have a good chance to come back. Our goal is we want the rally feature to allow dramatic shifts in decision outcomes so that you, the community, can enjoy your impact on the Silent Hill Ascension story. We know that when these decisions do get close, as for example, the one with Toby, that leads to really dramatic moments, as we don't know as developers what is going to happen as a result, right? We can tell it's one of two things at that spot, but we don't actually know. What happens is we got it ready to rock and load, and then it loads, but we don't know until the moment that decision closes what happens. So we wanted to make sure that you, the community, also get that angst and feel it right until the very end when at all possible. Now, the thing with the holiday break is the last show is for this year in 2023. So we will return. Is on Monday, the 18th of December, 2023. Jacob Online posted a little bit about it, some details. We will also, on that last show, describe more details on the holiday break. So that'll be actually probably with myself in that post show. Now, one of the things is, while that is the last show for you, the audience, one of the things is, for tonight, this is Noa's last show of the year. So Noa, again, thank you so much for your presence, and I hope you, the viewers, so please, viewers, say thank you to Noa for. I hope you've enjoyed Noa's company. I sure have, and again, she'll, as they say, she'll be back. It's essentially a question, though, of course, of the holiday break. It's important for all of us in the development team to have a proper rest break, all the usual stuff like being with our families and stuff. I know. But the thing is, again, for the hosted show, we will have them as scheduled on Friday and the Monday. Friday's hosted show will actually look back at the story so far. That will be essentially looking back together with you, the audience, and essentially what's been going on, some of the key thematics. We hope that with chat being enabled, that we get to discuss that together. We hope to have some lively conversations. Monday show's a little particular. I'm not actually going to spoil for all of you what's going to happen there, but there will be something. We're setting that up. Now, some other quick updates for you. Puzzles and Endure will improve. We know that Endure scenes are something that you do enjoy, but over time, we want to make sure you keep enjoying the experience, so we keep improving it. Puzzles will have more new content. So again, thank you so much for being patient with us, for you giving your feedback to us. That's really what helps us improve the experience for sure. One of the things with that is now as well, when you're submitting something to, when you're contacting us at support, you can copy your session info with your account, and that's going to help us improve your user experience, but that's because of your feedback. Last little bit, episodes will now be first to last. So if you wanted to have your friends kind of join in with you, check out Silent Hill Ascension. We've designed it so that like episode 1 is at the start and they can slowly go through those episodes and then, catch up to live and be with us. Because Noa, there's nothing like a live show.
I love the live shows, but unfortunately we are nearing the end of this one. And I'm extremely sad because, it's going to be a while till I see everybody again. And okay, sorry, composing myself. Okay. Eduardo, can you please recap for us?
Yeah, no, for sure. And by the way, Joffrey Atlin saying we'll miss the fan. So you, the fan, are going to miss. No. Oh, there we go. Yes.
You mean this fan?
Oh, yeah. By the way, that was an all Noa and Leila special, the Iskandar. We've been loving the relationships between Mete and Carl and kind of like what's been starting as well with Krista and Eric here because of the scandal. We know it's been fun. We hope you've had fun here in the audience. Now, I'm going to recap a little bit of the story, right? Kind of things are heating up, but differently. Pennsylvania, monster, straight up. Monster. We got to lock down. We got to protect ourselves. You see the creepy crawlies. You see the figures of walking. Not the greatest scene for them. Now, Norway, things are heating up differently. Brit kind of appeared. Right? Brit was a character we foreshadowed at the start of the show as a character whose decisions of supporting her were towards damnation. So it's kind of a foreshadowing in a way. But that relationship between Astrid and Brit, you got to see it in our pre-show if you were there with us. But again, you can catch up on that too in the Ice Bar, as well as the post-show when they kind of made up. And that was a really big thing. It was a really touching scene there. Highly recommend you rewatch that relationship between the sisters. Brit regretting those words, "You're just like Mama." And there's one thing for sure, Noa, Ingrid is awful. I don't get that. Ingrid is horrific. But you know who's not horrific? It's Noa, who's been awesome with us in this show. And again, thank you, Noa, for being here. But one of the things that you'll be able to do, Noa, while you're kind of off the air is I know you enjoyed the puzzles. You and the audience will get to enjoy those. You do get to stick around after the show and enjoy those at any time. Now we're going to throw on screen kind of what's going to happen with our next show. Again, just so that you all have that reminder. So next show is a recap show. A little bit, if you're used to shows, clip specials, a little bit that, but the difference is you'll be with us. So it's not one of the things I've always not liked with clip specials is they feel sometimes, for lack of a better term, lazy, but we'll be on air
Yes, we will. We always go the distance, Eduardo, and that's why people see it.
Yeah, and that's a big thing. We hope you enjoy our company as we revisit some of the key moments from kind of the start of the Silent Hill Ascension to present day. The show will air as usual. Don't worry. You get to see new scenes as well at 6 p.m. And afterwards, we'll do more. We'll do it by thematics. We'll go through the different topics. We'll make sure that you have a great time revisiting kind of those key moments of Silent Hill Ascension. And it gives you a good idea of where we're at in full before the holiday break so that you can be nice as well, the audience, and rested, enjoy your time, and remember what you got to see with us. But with everything good, unfortunately, must come to an end. So, Noa, do you want to say a few words? Because this is your last show before the break, so I want to let you do things before we sign off.
Well, I just want to tell you something. I'm a bitch, not a monster. This is paraphrasing Krista. But also, so long, and thanks for the bread.
That's very fair. So, speaking of bread, we're going to sign off here. So, again, thank you again to you, the audience, for being with us tonight. We really appreciated seeing you in chat. We hope you appreciated our presence as well. Have a great time. So, and again, rain, shine, or fog, our show will continue on. So I'm going to sign off. This was Eduardo. This was Noa. Take care.